up, y'all? It's your girl Kia Love. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. So y'all, I'm so excited to share my vegan bacon recipe with y'all. Your girl was in the kitchen experimenting, and baby, let me tell you, this bacon pleasantly surprised me how it turned out. It's crispy, it's chewy, it's smoky, it's flavorful. It is so good. So I said, okay, I got to put my people on. I got to share this one. But listen, if you've been rocking with me for a while, then you know about a year ago, I did a vegan bacon review from a company that I bought from called Shroom Making, and there it was good. I ain't even gonna front. It was good. And I'll post that review down below in case you just want to buy it. But baby, I ain't even gonna hold you. I actually like mine better. No cap. So y'all, I'm so excited to get into it. So let's go. So you need 2 king oyster mushrooms. You're going to wash them and then dry them off really well. Squeeze them out like I was doing because you want to make sure it's as dry as possible. And then you're going to cut those hard ends off at the bottom and then also cut off the mushroom tops. Now, don't throw away those mushroom tops because you can use those in another recipe. So go ahead and put those to the side, put them in the refrigerator, and figure out what we're going to do with them later. But for now, grab you a mandolin slicer. You're going to need a mandolin slicer for the recipe so you can make sure your bacon can be sliced as thin as possible. If you don't have a mandolin slicer, just know that your bacon is not going to be as crispy. It's going to be chewy. So I'd highly recommend having a mandolin slicer for this recipe to get the full effect, okay? Listen, I got mine from Walmart for less than $20. I think it was like $12. So I got a cheap one and it does the job. So also know that when using a slicer, you want to make sure you use a cut glove because you can easily slice yourself and you don't want to do that. So get out your mandolin slicer, put it on the thinnest blade, and go ahead and get to slicing. But I'm going to show y'all real quick. So this is how thin it is. Let me show you how thin it is. You see how paper thin that is? That's what we're looking for, y'all. So that's what we want it to look like. And you see how skinny these slices are? Though if you want skinny slices like this, the way that I did that is I took one flat side and did it at an angle on 2 sides, as you can see. But I'm going to show you how to do the fatter slices. All you do is flip it to the other side and just do it on one flat angle instead of doing it on 2 angles like I did. So as you can see, this bacon is fatter than this first one. So it's up to you. It's up to your preference. I like the fatter ones, but go ahead and do your thing. Now listen, unless you're a pro or you have a high quality top tier chef standard mandolin slicer, just know that every slice of bacon is not going to come out perfect. You are going to end up with bits and pieces like this, but do not throw it away. Keep it. We still going to use that, y'all. We're not going to let no scraps go to waste. It's still going to fry up and be some good old bacon. And also, when you get to the end, you may have a thicker slice like I do this one. All I did was I sliced it as best as I could with a knife, but do know that the thicker pieces are going to be chewy. They're not going to be as crispy, but don't let that stop you. When you're done with the first mushroom, go ahead and get that second one and get to slicing. But let me show y'all how perfect some of these slices turned out. Look at how beautiful this one is. This is perfect to me. It's nice and fat. It's paper thin. It's just beautiful. So I'm done slicing it up and look at all this beautiful bacon. These 2 mushrooms made all of this. They are perfect. They're nice and fat. They're paper thin and no animals were harmed in the process, okay? We finna make this good old country bacon. And for my large families out there that's wondering how many slices of bacon we made with those 2 mushrooms, we have 25 here, we have 25 there. So that's a total of 50 slices of bacon plus those scraps that we didn't throw away. But keep in mind, that can vary depending on how thick your mushroom stems are and whether you did the skinny slices or the fatter slices. But that's good if you ask me. Now, for the next step, you need to grab some wax paper. This is for the people that want to freeze it like I do. I make a large batch and then freeze it. And then you need to grab a large freezer bag. And if you want to do single serving sizes, which I highly recommend, you need a sandwich bag as well. So for my people that are batch freezing, take some wax paper and cut it large enough to fit inside the large freezer bag if you're not doing the single servings. If you are doing the single servings, then cut the wax paper small enough to cover the inside of the sandwich bags. Do know that once we place the bacon in the bags, it's best for the bacon to not overlap. So to save on bags, you can place a sheet of wax paper on top of the first set of bacon, or you can use multiple bags as I prefer to do for my single servings. For example, I'm going to place about 5 slices of bacon in each sandwich bag since that's how many I plan to eat at one time. Yes, the single servings take a little more prep up front, but it will save time later and you'll see what I mean shortly. If you're not freezing the bacon, then you don't need the wax paper, but do know that you must eat the bacon within 24 hours if you're not going to freeze it. So I highly recommend just freezing it and taking it out as you need it. Now, let's go ahead and get to the good part, the secret sauce. We finna whip up this marinade, so grab you a shallow pan and grab you some coconut aminos and fill up the bottom. Now, y'all know your girl do not like to measure. I just go with the flow, but don't worry, it's better to make more than not enough, and if you don't make enough, you can always make more. It's not gonna go to waste, y'all, I promise. Next, you're gonna grab some smoked paprika. Now listen, if you want to use liquid smoke, you can. I didn't use liquid smoke this time because I couldn't find any at the moment that didn't have soybeans, and y'all know I don't rock with soy, so I'm using smoked paprika. But feel free to use liquid smoke instead if you prefer. And then you're going to add a little bit of seasoning salt. Next, you're going to add some ground mustard. Then you're going to add some mushroom umami seasoning. This is going to give you that meaty flavor. Next, you're going to add some celery seed. I know y'all are probably like, girl, what we going to do with that celery seed? And what does that even taste like? But I'm telling y'all, it just does something for the flavor of this bacon. And then next, you're going to add some garlic powder, of course. And then you're going to add a pinch of cayenne pepper. And to balance it all out, we're going to add some brown sugar. Now, this is the only thing that I measured to make sure I don't overdo the sweetness. So add half a teaspoon of brown sugar, followed by some fresh cracked black pepper. Now, if you already have the black pepper that's already ground, that's okay. You can use the ground pepper, but I'd recommend using the one that you have to crack yourself. Then go ahead and give it all a good whisk. Then you're going to give it a taste test. If you need to adjust the seasonings, add a little more. That's cool. You can do that. But once it's good, we're going to move on to the next. So the marinade is good, but just in case you didn't understand what I was saying earlier, I want to show y'all real quick what I was talking about with the bags and the wax paper. You're just going to take your wax paper and lay it nice and flat inside of the bag. I have a sandwich bag here because I'm going to do the single serving sizes. And as I said earlier, y'all will find out shortly why I prefer to do it this way. But yeah, I just wanted to show y'all what this looks like. And it's boom, just like that, y'all. It's that simple. But if you're going to use the larger freezer bag, just make sure the wax paper is large enough to cover that. Was I not recording? Oh my God, y'all. I can't believe I was not recording. That is so annoying. I'm sorry, y'all. What I'm doing is I'm taking each slice of bacon and I'm marinating it. I'm placing it in the marinade, flipping it on both sides, making sure that it's well coated. And then I'm placing it in the bags on top of the wax paper in a single layer, meaning I'm making sure that the bacon is not laid on top of each other, and I'm making sure that it's as flat as possible, just like this. And the reason why I want to make sure it's not laying on top of each other is because you don't want them to stick together when they freeze, and you don't want them to risk breaking off and things like that. So it's best not to lay them on top of each other. And you want to make sure that each bacon is well coated, because this is where the flavor is going to come from. So that's all I'm doing, y'all. And like I said, if you don't want to use a lot of bags and you want to fit as many slices of bacon as possible in one bag, then I would recommend using the larger bag. And whenever you run out of room on that wax paper, just place another wax paper layer on top of that first layer of bacon and then start stacking them up again on that one, and just keep doing it that way. Now, for my people that are not freezing the bacon, like I said earlier, you do not need the wax paper. You're just going to go ahead and throw your bacon in the bag. It doesn't need to be nice and flat. It doesn't matter if they're laying on top of each other. It doesn't matter about any of that. See, like this. I just have them thrown in the bag. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because you're not freezing them, so we're not going to risk it breaking off. We still have the flavor in there. It's going to still get nice, well, and coated. It really doesn't even matter if you're just putting it in the freezer. But like I said, if you're doing it this way, then you have to eat this bacon within 24 hours. So it's worth the effort to freeze. Now, what I do want to show y'all is, well, I'm experimenting with y'all, is the coloring. So first time I made it, I didn't do this, but then I thought about it. I'm like, well, what if somebody wants some bacon to have more color to it? So I was like, well, let me see if beetroot powder will work. Now, I haven't tried this before, so y'all gonna be the first to know. Just like, you know, if it don't work out, y'all gonna be the first to know. So let's see how this goes. So for now, I'm just going to pour some of this marinade to the side because I want to save some to pour into the bags to add extra flavor. And I'm just going to use this little bit that's left in my pan to test. So I literally just added a pinch of beetroot powder. I'm doing it a little bit at a time just so I can see what kind of effect it has on the color. But also keep in mind that beetroot powder does have a flavor to it. So you don't want to add too much, okay? That's what I'm thinking, is that I don't want to add too much, because I definitely don't want the flavor to change too much, but I just want to see what type of effect it's going to have on the coloring. I'm going to use this beetroot powder 2 ways. I'm going to do it where I mix it in with the marinade like this. As I can see, to me it's getting a little darker and has more of a reddish tint to it. And then the other way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to put the beetroot powder on top of the bacon when it's time to cook it. So we'll see. We'll see if this works out or not. But hey, y'all going to find out right along with me, because I did not do it this way when I did it the first time. Just a thought, y'all. Might as well try. Give it a shot, see if it works. And if it doesn't, then it is what it is. Okay, so once you have all of your bacon in the bag, whether you're doing the multiple small bags or you're doing that one big large bag, you're going to go ahead and make sure all of the air is out of the bag, and then you zip it up nice and tight. You want to get all of that air out so we don't get any type of freezer burn, and we want to make sure that flavor is nice and seasoned and sealed well onto that bacon. And then you're going to take your smaller bags and place it inside of the large bag. So if you feel like that you need to add a little more seasoning, then go ahead, take some of that extra marinade and pour it on up in there. That's going to give it a more flavor. I just pour a little bit in there, and then I just kind of tilt the bag around, get it nice and well coated across the bag. Just like that, y'all. Just make sure it's touching all of the bacon. That's what I like to do. And then, like I said, you get all of the air out and seal it nice and tight. So yes, even if you're doing the smaller bags, you want to seal them nice and tight and then place them in a large bag. If you're not doing the smaller bags, the difference is you have a large bag with wax paper in it and you have your bacon layered on the wax paper. If you're doing the single serving sizes, the large bag is just to store all the smaller bags. That's the difference. So either way, you need a large bag. So yeah, y'all, so I have all of my bags in there in my one large bag. I'm just making sure I get all the air out as best as possible. If I wasn't filming, I would have pressed it up against my chest, against my stomach or whatever to make sure all the air is out. But I wanted to show y'all what it is. And then you pop it in the freezer. All right, y'all, it's the next morning and I want to show you how to whip up this bacon. So grab a bowl large enough to fit the sandwich bag and fill it up with lukewarm water. You want to make sure your water is lukewarm, mostly cold, but a little warm, not hot. Do not use hot water, lukewarm water only. And then grab your bacon out the freezer. Now, for those of y'all that froze it, this is where it's easy peasy from here. So go ahead and grab your sandwich bag of bacon, your little single serving or 2 singles, whatever you want to do. Grab your bag and put it in that water. It's going to sit in the water for about 15 minutes, and that's how we're going to defrost it. That's it, y'all. Now, if you did not do the single servings and you did the one large bag, I did my first one that way, so I'm showing y'all my first round of bacon that I made. This is what you're going to do. Grab a sandwich bag, grab your large bag of bacon, and go ahead and peel however many slices you want to take off of that wax paper. I'm down to my last few slices, so of course the wax paper looks a mess. So this is an example of what it's going to look like. It is going to get messy for you if you didn't do it the single serving way, because you got to peel your bacon off of this wax paper, and it does get a little messy. And then you're going to take your bacon slices, and you're going to put it inside of the sandwich bag. Make sure you get all of the air out, and then you're going to put your bacon inside of the water, and you're going to sit it in there for 15 minutes, and it's going to defrost. So that's the difference if you didn't do the single serving sizes, is that you have to deal with peeling the bacon off, and sometimes the paper can get stuck to the bacon and all of that. So yeah, that's it, y'all. That's why it's easy peasy just to do the single serving so you can grab and go. All right, so next we're gonna grab a shallow pan and we're gonna grab some potato starch. Yes, y'all, the potato starch is the secret to making sure your bacon is crispy. And then you're gonna grab a mini sifter, pour some of that good old potato starch in the sifter, and go ahead and dust that bottom of that pan. You wanna make sure the entire bottom of the pan is covered with the potato starch, and this is to make sure that we are covering the entire surface of the bacon. So at this point, the bacon is defrosted. It has been 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and take the bacon out, and I'm going to layer it on top of the potato starch in a single layer. Make sure it's not on top of each other. And the reason why you want to make sure it's not on top of each other in this case is because you want to make sure that that potato starch is coated on the complete side of the bacon. Once we lay this all down, I'm going to go ahead and dust some more potato starch on top of the bacon. So basically, I'm making sure that both sides of the bacon is coated with potato starch. This, my friend, is going to make sure your bacon is nice and crispy. If you run out of room, don't force that bacon on the pan. Make sure you just put it on back. We can do it on the next round. You want to make sure that each piece of bacon is nice and flat. And also save some of that liquid that's in the bag. We could use that later. Now go ahead and dust the potato starch on top of the bacon. Now you don't need to put a lot. You're just going to make sure you cover each slice of bacon. Now listen, the potato starch will disappear quickly. So there were times when I was dusting and I'm like, didn't I get that piece already? Yeah, it's going to disappear just because of the marinade that's on there. So don't worry about that. Just know that so you don't put too much. Now, like I told y'all, I wanted to see what it was going to be like if I went ahead and dusted that beetroot powder on here now that it's time to cook it. Y'all, I already can tell this is going to be a mess, but I at least wanted to show y'all in case y'all were curious as well. Like I said, if it don't work out, you're going to be the first to know, okay? Now, let's go ahead and heat up our pan to medium heat, and then we're going to spray it with some olive oil. I'm going to make sure the entire surface of the pan is sprayed with olive oil. And then we're going to go ahead and lay our bacon down. Like I said, you want to do medium heat. You don't want it to be too high because you don't want it to burn. After about 3 minutes, your bacon should be ready to flip over. Make sure you keep an eye on it. It's kind of like toast. You want to keep an eye on it because it can burn easily. So go ahead and flip that bacon over and cook it on the other side for about 2 to 3 more minutes. If you find your stove is too high, it's okay to turn it down, but we do want to make sure we cook it all the way and get it nice and crispy. So for my people that did not freeze the bacon and put it in the refrigerator, I did not forget about y'all. So here we go. So go ahead and take your bacon out the refrigerator. We're going to do the same thing we just did. Grab your shallow pan and dust it with some potato starch. Layer the bacon on a single layer and then go ahead and dust some more potato starch on top of the bacon. Now remember, this is also the same bacon that I added the beetroot powder to the marinade to see what it's going to look like, if it's going to be a difference between the color. So like I said, y'all going to be the first to know if it don't work out, but I'm really interested to see the difference between this bacon and the one without the beetroot powder. So this bacon should be done now. So I'm just checking it to make sure. And oh my God, y'all, look at this beet red bacon. That looks ridiculous. That one is not it. It's a no for me on that one. So y'all, I'm good with my regular color bacon. So it's a no for that. That's the one that I sprinkled the beetroot powder on top of the bacon, and it's a no. But for now, we're going to go ahead and cook up this last batch of bacon, which I said is the one that was in the refrigerator. And it was also the one that I had the beetroot powder and the marinade. We're going to see how this color turns out. Oh, I almost forgot that extra liquid that's in the bag. If you want, you can add that to do like a flavor boost. You can go ahead and pour some of that on your bacon. But I'm telling y'all from experience, if you pour too much, you can take away some of that crispiness from the bacon. So this is the final product, y'all, and I'm telling you, don't judge a book by its cover, because if you knock it before you try it, you gonna miss out, because baby, this flavor is on point. If you like smoky, chewy, crispy bacon, this the one. And just for comparison purposes, since I did experiment with y'all, this one right here on the left is the one where I put the beetroot powder in the marinade. As you can see, it's a little darker than the one without the beetroot powder, which is this one right here. This is the one without the beetroot powder. And then of course you saw it when I sprinkled on the beetroot powder directly to the bacon, which looks ridiculous. We're gonna call that one bright red. It looks ridiculous. But y'all, I was just experimenting for color purposes. It's definitely not necessary. But y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I was so excited to share this recipe with y'all. Yes, it takes a little work up front when you're doing it the freezer way, but I'm telling you, it's totally worth it. It's very affordable, and we ain't hurt no animals in the process, and it's real food. It's mushrooms, y'all. I'm telling you, try it. Even if you don't like mushrooms, I'm telling you, try it. Don't knock it before you try it. But anyways, y'all, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to be notified whenever I post, hit the bell icon and the subscribe button. Also, follow your girl on Instagram. Anyways, y'all, it's your girl, Kia Love. Until next time, y'all, peace and love. Then dip me underway. You can feel my blood flow. Hold me till I scream for every. Wash me over until my